Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is Wednesday night. It is 8 p.m. My name is Paul Spencer. I'm with the OG of all sports, Mr. Bill Furman. Bill, how are we feeling today?
I am doing fantastic, Paul. Good to be back. Good to talk a little college football, even after a little spanking my boys got this week.
Yeah, yeah, Bill. You guys, I mean, it wasn't a spanking, Bill, but I guess it was in rights that we talk about it, correct?
Yeah,
It was.
I think the score was not as indicative of how the game went.
Yeah, yeah.
Credit the Penn State defense for keeping the score a little bit low, but it really wasn't that great of a contest.
No, I mean, you look at this. You look at the score, Bill, 20-12, and that's not a far victory where it was a one-sided victory here. But Penn State's defense played a hell of a game. I'm looking at stats, Bill. 9 tackles for losses. They played a great game on defense. But Bill, I'll ask you first. What do you think went wrong here?
Well, I think offensively, I'm going to go that there's a trust issue. I
With
think
Aller, correct? Yeah,
I think they were
yeah.
trying to protect the quarterback a little bit and keep him in out of tough situations.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want to turn him loose. In turn, they are supposed to be a fantastic running team. They weren't very successful at that. That offensive
Yeah.
line, I've been talking about it here every week for the whole season. Uh, they couldn't run the ball, which then put Drew Aller in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, third and
Yes.
12.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're trying to protect them on 1st and 2nd down, you got him in a jam on 3rd down, and then the receivers could not get one drop of separation from those Ohio State defensive backs. Now all of a sudden you're throwing the ball into places that you shouldn't be throwing it. He didn't throw a lot of interceptions. He threw a lot of incompletions,
Yeah.
and which turned into punts.
Yeah.
Not a very good game plan, or they got out of their game plan too quick.
Mm-hmm.
Whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bill. I mean, the first thing I love how you said that. There's a trust issue there. You bring in a 5-star athlete, Drew Aller here. Highly recruited. He sits the bench 1 year behind eighth year Sean Clifford here, or then he finally gets his start. Bill, you got to take the leash off this kid. You went out and got him for a reason. Show some trust in him. We always talk about that trust value where are you going to take the leash off your quarterback? With Notre Dame, I wanted to see the leash come off Hartman. We know he can throw the ball. Take the leash off this kid. Let him throw the ball downfield. Make the right reads. Bill, they protected Aller this week. They protected him.
Yep.
But then you said they put him in worse positions. They're chasing the sticks. They're not moving the sticks. They're chasing the sticks with 3rd and long here. Long possessions there that you can't move the sticks. And that defense was, they felt it, Bill. They just knew, like, okay, they don't trust Aller here. We can pin our ears back and just go after them right away here. They're
Yeah,
not going. They don't trust them. They're not going to throw the ball right now. So let's just go
absolutely.
for it.
And the thing about it is, there's young kids,
Yeah,
sophomore quarterbacks all over the country. They're throwing the ball all over the country,
yeah, yeah.
and they didn't want to do that. And to the 2012 final score,
Mhm.
the Penn State touchdown was at garbage time.
Yes, yes. It was a charity.
So
It was a charity one. Yeah.
yeah, I mean it was really late in the game, last minute and a half, I believe.
Hmm.
So it was much more of a beating than that score indicated.
Bill, I like how you said, all year long. I mean, hell, we're in the 9th week here, Bill, and every week somehow we talk about the Penn State O line. Bill, 26 carries, 49 yards.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
and that's the story of the game. If you can't run the ball, you're not usually going to be very successful. But
Yeah.
when you try to run it on 1st and 2nd and put your quarterback in a jam, now you got problems. And the other thing that Ohio State was doing is they weren't blitzing for the most part.
Yeah.
They were doing it with their front four,
Mm-hmm.
and coached by my man Larry Johnson, by the way, ex Penn State guy, and
Yes.
Larry's a friend.
Mm.
I just hate that he's over there with the OH guys, but heck of a man, Larry Johnson.
Mhm.
Anyway, that defensive front did a nice job and really put the pressure on Penn State.
Yeah.
And like I said, the Penn State defense I thought was fantastic. Sooner or later, Marvin Harrison was going to get loose. He did. They did a nice job getting him the ball in all kinds of different places.
Mm-hmm.
And I think really the Penn State defense ran out of gas a little bit and gave up some yards and some points there towards the end of the game as well.
Yeah.
But overall, a real nice job by the Penn State defense.
Yeah, the defense, I'm not going to say anything bad about. I mean, they held their own, Bill, giving up 20 points to a high-powered offense in Ohio State. Hey, listen, you can pick your poison, but the running game for Ohio State, 41 carries, 79 yards. The defense, the front seven just solidified that. Only problem is there was one guy named Marvin Harrison, like you said, Bill, 11 catches, 162 yards,
Yeah, and if you look at their other receivers, they held everybody else in check. It was just Harrison, and they tried to do everything they could. They doubled them at times. They singled them. They zoned them. They tried to do all kinds of different things. And again, like I said, to Ohio State's credit, they managed to get him the ball. They got the ball in his hands, and targeted him even a few more times. Marvin Harrison, as we know, is the deal.
Yeah, there's a reason why we call him elite. I mean, give credit to the Ohio State offensive coordinator for putting him in different positions. Bill, slot, outside, inside, wherever they feel that he can give him the ball on, double team, triple team, whatever. That guy can read his progressions, Bill. He can find the right, in between zones. He knows where to go, and that was once again that trust issue. Hey, Harrison's going to be there. Trust in him. Get him the ball. Take the leash off him, and that's crazy. That he's a younger classman too, Bill, and they gave him the trust value to throw the ball downfield too. Didn't have a great game, 22 for 35 for 286, which is good. But Bill, I don't know if I'm reading this right. Did Aller really throw the ball 42 times this game?
Yeah.
18 for 42 for 191.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Like I say, there was no separation from the receivers. He was behind the chains a lot.
Yeah.
And he was having to throw it, and he didn't throw interceptions. He just didn't, he just couldn't get guys open.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when he did, the timing was off. Everything was just to click off. And whether he was having to throw a little early because of pressure, maybe he had a little happy feet as well. But he wasn't the guy I was certainly expecting it was going to show up, or the game plan that was going to show up on Saturday.
Now, Bill, let me ask you before we move on to another game here. Do you think this is a product of not playing your cupcake schedule versus a elite schedule here by not taking the leash off earlier off Aller here and waiting to the last moment saying, okay, well, he hasn't been tested yet. Let's not do it right now. Let's just play like we've been playing the last 6 weeks here and just ride the game out. Let the game come to us other than let's trust Aller. We need him to make the right reads here. Let's take the leash off. Do you feel anything about that, Bill, or no?
I think that I think the coaching staff got tight. This was Ohio State. This wasn't Delaware. This wasn't Rutgers or whoever. This was Ohio State. And I think they didn't have the confidence that he wasn't going to make a mistake, and they didn't want to get him in a mistake type situation, so they pulled him back.
Okay,
just my observation. They just the game plan itself, I didn't much care for. The fact you read the numbers, the fact you couldn't run the ball, it certainly blows up a game plan. But I just think it was more the competition. Maybe it was the name Ohio State. That, hey, we know they're good.
Right.
So we planned a little differently right out of the chute instead of saying, man, let's go after these guys.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the score here, 2012, you think Penn State was in this game. They hung with them. Defensively, they played well. The only name is Marvin Harrison. You stopped everything else except him, and he was the one factor. But, Bill, I want to ask you real quick. I put on Twitter, the score. I usually, recap the game or play-by-play big scores like that. And I was on Twitter doing the Penn State game, and I took a lot of backlash. And I even told a couple people out there, what did you see on that holding call, Marvin Harrison? It was a clear, blatant hold. Am I correct? You've seen the same thing, correct? The penalty where it was the interception
on the scoop and score.
Yes, the scoop and score.
Yeah, it probably was. I mean, I wouldn't call it blatant. But yeah, it was probably a penalty.
Okay, all right. I just want to hear your take on that because I watched it over and over, and they made it. He was in his route, but I don't know if that ball was actually thrown before then. That should have just been a holding call, but they called the PI there, took away 7 points. You think that was a momentum swing, Bill?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I still don't know that Penn State had enough to but they would have had the lead. The defense was playing well, and it
Yeah.
ended up being a 14-point swing that they never recovered from.
Very true. Very true. Bill, I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, but at the end of the day, Penn State played not to lose instead of played to win, and that was the big difference.
We hear that far and too often, Bill. Play not to lose and not to play to win. I hate that saying, Bill, because Bill, I talk to you and I'm very aggressive. I don't care what the score is. I'm not taking my foot off the pedal in Little League either. I want to run the score because you never know. My starting 11 could fall down and break a leg, and you never know what could happen in the last quarter. So I'm running the damn score up on you. But what other games do you want to talk about this week? There was some great games this week.
Oh, geez. Man, they seem like they were a month ago.
I know, doesn't it?
Go ahead. Hit me with
well, how about we do North Carolina losing to Virginia, Bill?
Yeah, North Carolina, Virginia. The other one was Florida State Duke. I forgot about that one.
Florida State 38, Duke 20. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But Virginia had no business beating North Carolina. They come back and they took care of them. And as you can see, you have your top 10 down there. There is no North Carolina there anymore. Virginia has not been very good.
Right.
And they came after North Carolina, got after them right from the start, and led the whole way.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I thought I was seeing things, Bill, when I look at that, 31-27 here. Drake May had a great game, 24 for 48, 347, 2 TDs, 1 pick. Rushing, they had 29 carries, 143, 1 on the ground. But Virginia just had a combined game, Bill. Their quarterback, Mossford or something, I can't even pronounce his name, actually, 20 for 30, 208, 1 TD, 1 pick. But on the ground, Bill, 54 carries, 238.
Yeah. And that was really surprising because that's not what Virginia's been doing, and it's not been what North Carolina's been letting happen. They smacked them in the mouth, and
I tell you, Bill, it's exactly what you said right there. They shut down Estime. They can shut down like an Estime type running back. They can do what they need to do, even though they haven't played him yet. But I'm just looking at the running backs that they played. They can shut down the running game, and for Virginia to manhandle that offensive line versus defensive line here, Bill. It was just something like, do we look at this and say, is the AC just overrated? Is, Florida State's the cream there? Of course, we know that. But is Duke, is the North Carolina's just an ACC, beneficiary of the schedule, Bill, maybe?
Yeah. I think that's what you're going to see as this all plays out. As, Florida State took care of Duke. Miami beats Clemson.
Yes.
In double overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Miami will have to play Florida State. I believe that one is in Tallahassee, I think.
I believe it is. Mm-hmm.
But, and I don't think Miami's got what it takes, but hey, they're playing better ball, and just maybe if they don't blow that game on the miscue by the coach, they've only got one loss.
Yeah. That's true.
But I think it looks like Florida State is going to be the cream of the crop there and probably going to run the table. Mm-hmm. They're going to be sitting going to the ACC championship undefeated.
Yeah, that's the one team I think that holds their own destiny, Bill. If they can just win out here and just win the ACC championship, which should be, I don't want to say anything's a cakewalk, Bill, but that should be a cakewalk game, seeing what we've seen in the ACC so far. They control their destiny sitting at 4. If they lose, they Absolutely. Have everything to lose here. But, Bill, the 6th-ranked team, Oklahoma, escaped, Bill. UCF 31-29.
Yeah. Wow. What interesting game too, with the fact that Gabriel came from UCF.
Yes.
Comes out to Oklahoma, and man, he had a nice game again, but again, you just want to question that Oklahoma defense. That's a lot of points to give up to a not real good UCF team.
Yeah, I was looking at the line, Bill, and this line was 16.5 going to this game here. And I'm like, wait a minute. UCF is ahead right now in the first quarter here. What is going on? But Gabriel had a good game, 25 for 38, 253, 3 TDs. The rushing game was there also, 46 for 189. But, Bill, 2 key fumbles by the running game there. Lost the possession there. It was a field possession game. But you're right. What does UCF have? I mean, the Oklahoma defense, going back to maybe – the Switzer days, that's when they actually had a defense that would play. But Brent Brable's out there. I thought he would be a better defensive coach, Bill, but Oklahoma's not play defense no matter who they play.
Not yet. Not yet. I mean, he was a great defensive coach at Clemson.
Yes, he was.
He could coach it up if he's got the Jimmies and Joes. He just doesn't have them yet.
Yep. Now this is his what, second year there, correct?
Second year. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll give him a couple years here because he is still playing with, the freshmen now are juniors that the freshmen and sophomore the freshmen would actually be his guys and their younger classmen, but the juniors and seniors are, Lincoln Riley's boys, and that's built for speed. We score, but we don't play defense, that mentality.
Yeah, and I mean, give him his due. He's sitting here at number 6 undefeated.
Yeah,
I mean,
true. Yeah.
He's giving up points, but he's scoring points. So far, so good for him. But
Yeah.
I don't know how long that'll last, because he's probably going to see Texas again
Yes.
at some point. But we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
hats off to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I know the one thing Oklahoma fans can say is like, we don't see Lincoln Riley's team in the top 15 here this week anymore, correct?
Well, we certainly need to talk about that because
great. There we go.
Wow. USC is going in the tank, and Caleb Williams is going in the tank. Lincoln Riley is going into the tank. Lincoln Riley all of a sudden sick, can't come to his weekly show. Caleb Williams is on the sidelines looking like a little baby boy.
Yes.
His Heisman is history. Their national championship is gone. Not a good final year for the Trojans getting ready to come to the Big Ten.
Yeah, so I mean, two things, Bill. Recruiting wise, how do you think this with the transfer portal, not even transfer portal, the decommit situation that USC is going to see next year? We know Caleb Williams is gone, so next best quarterback, hey, let's go out to USC. Quarterback maybe we can go out there, Lincoln Riley. But just imagine this year, the way it's gone right now, the decommits, Bill. I can just see him now saying, wow, you can't compete in the Big Ten next year. Look what you can't even win the Pac-12 here.
Yeah. Well, what's going to be interesting, and I want to say it was Joel Klatt that said this. I hope I'm saying the right guy. Suggested that Caleb Williams pack it in now.
Wow. What do you think about that?
I think it's ridiculous. To shut it down. They're out of it. Shut it down. Don't get hurt. Don't hurt yourself in any way, and go get ready for the draft here at week whatever we're in 8.
Yeah, 8 or 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it was Joel Klatt. I probably shouldn't have said that in case I got the wrong guy, but I'm pretty sure it was Joel.
Wow. So pack it in and just, get ready for the NFL Combine, because you're still a projected 1-2 player here, but don't make your draft stock go any worse than it's dropping right now, correct?
Right.
But wasn't it last week where Caleb Williams said that whatever team he goes to, he picks his team, I can stay another year, make more money here. If I do go to a team that I would like to go, I want a minority ownership in this. Well, the way you're playing right now, I think you're lucky to go to a team right now, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he's so talented. Somebody's going to take him.
Oh, of course.
But he's not helping himself. He's not helping himself with his actions on the sideline. He did, it started in Notre Dame. Actually, it started a week before that.
Yeah.
In that game that they pulled out, Arizona game, I believe it was.
Yep.
And then the Notre Dame game, and then this week. And he's not making a very good showing to make a billionaire want to give him the keys to the car.
Yeah, exactly.
NFL ownership, you're turning your keys over to a young quarterback, and you got a lot of growing up to do if you're Caleb Williams the way it looks right now.
You definitely do. We talked about the BCS championships gone here. Hell, Bill, the Rose Bowl might be gone for them as well. That's one tier 1, tier 2 here. But man, if you can't even get to tier 1 to get to your goals, there's something wrong here. But one hell of a game. I give cats off to Utah, 34-32. Bill, 3 straight victories against USC with Utah here without Cam Rising, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge for the Utah program too.
It is.
Like you say, without their best player.
Yeah.
And they're getting it done. Kyle Whittingham does a nice job out there.
He does.
We'll see if they get him back. Get Rising back, how they can fare. The other one out there is going to be a little interesting, I think, is Chip Kelly's getting that thing going a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's creeping up on us here, Bill. He was outside the top 25 for a little bit of time here, and he's slowly making his way back here. I tell you what, he's got Jaden Daniels playing some ball. I tell you that quarterback is really surprising me. He really is. And
the thing about it is he's going to have USC here at the end as well. And if USC folds their tent and like you say, UCLA knocks them off here at the end of the season,
Yes.
it'd be really an ugly finish for USC if that happened. And then you talk about recruiting differences. Now that's a big splash.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the recruiting out there. You're going to the Big Ten here. Oregon, Washington, of course, and those are the prize teams right now. Where we see them sitting at 5 and 8 right now. And it was a very good game when they played each other as well. So there's nothing, hats off to both teams. But this is pushing UFC down the ladder, Bill, and it's a hard ladder to climb, especially moving to the Big Ten here, Bill.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Bill, I tell you, this week was. There's never a game that you can just say is a cakewalk anymore because you never know in college football anymore.
Oh, there's so much talent. There's so much talent out there on all these teams that anybody can knock anybody off on any given day, as we're seeing in almost every Saturday.
Agree. Well, Bill, I mean, let's let's talk about the top 15 here. Now, Penn State, that's the biggest game last week. Ohio, Bill, we talked about this, and through chatting. The only disagreement I have here, Ohio State needs to be ahead of Michigan. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that, and I'm not sure they shouldn't be ahead of Georgia.
Wow.
Well, and the only reason I said, by the way, when we get together next Wednesday, the actual bowl committee will have met on Tuesday. We'll have the true
BCS.
The true BCS first showing is next Tuesday night.
Yes, I can't wait.
And I heard today on the radio that there's speculation that Georgia could be number 5 or 6.
Wow.
Coming out based on lack of schedule.
That strength of schedule, that SOS plays a long way. And, the true eyes, Bill, I want to say the true eyes,
Right. But, I think Michigan is rolling. They're beating everybody bad, but they're not beating anybody that's any good.
Very true.
Ohio State now has wins at Notre Dame, at home against Penn State. They're quality wins. To me, Ohio State has to be ahead of Michigan.
I agree 100%. And I do like, you could arguably make a case for that Michigan, to be, maybe being a 4 or a 5 right now because of the fact they're SOS. Georgia SOS, they're not up there either, Bill. They're playing little, sisters of the poor as well. The only team that's really played anybody is Ohio State. Washington, I'll give credit. They beat Oregon, there. Oklahoma, Texas, they're where they should be. Only loss there from Texas is Oklahoma, so they're arguably right there. To me, it's who you beat, but the strength of schedule goes a long way. And I can't wait for next Wednesday, Bill, because we will have some arguments against what we see as well. I think we will.
Well, I think we will. And, and I think the sleeper in this, and we were talking about a little bit earlier, is Florida State.
Yes.
If they run the table, they're going to sit here at 4. Michigan or Ohio State's going to lose because they're going to play each other, if nothing else. Florida State's going to sneak up and be sitting on the doorstep for anything to happen to one of those other teams. And really, if you look at strength of schedule now, and I don't know about the wins and losses, but, they're beating ranked teams. They beat Clemson on the road. That's just a tough game. They've gone ahead and they beat Duke now, who was ranked. So as they knock off these teams that are ranked, they're gonna be sitting in that 3 spot come late in the season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just take care of what's in front of you, and even though you're in ACC and your teams are losing at the back end, Louisville, they play this week, they play Duke this week, still top 20 teams here as well. It's all going to pan out. Just take care of who's in front of you. Go win your ACC championship. I just wish Notre Dame was playing against Florida State this year, Bill, because that would put a asterisk on their strength of schedule. While we beat Notre Dame, who's creeping back in the top 15 here. Ohio State, Louisville, of course, that was a dismantling, but we're beating the teams in front of me. But I think I like how you said Florida State, Bill. They hold their own destiny. Hell, Bill, who knows? If they run the table here, they could end up, 2 and 3 maybe. I don't think they'll go 1 with their strength of schedule, but hell, they could go 2 and 3 because there's still a lot of games in that Big Ten that have to be played out too, Bill.
That's right. That's right. The other one that I think is kind of interesting to me is number 9 Alabama.
Yeah.
They beat Tennessee at home. My eyes don't show me that Alabama is that good.
Right.
but they like to have Alabama in the mix because everybody wants to see Alabama or root against Alabama. One or the other. They're a draw people like to see, and they always seem to have them creep back in there, just sitting on a doorstep somewhere.
I agree with that. I mean, the thing is here, if Bama one loss team here to Texas, who's arguably at 7 right now, still, well, you're sitting at 9, and you're going to play Georgia somewhat in the SEC championship here. So let's say if Alabama runs the table, they beat Georgia, somehow they beat them in the SEC championship. Arguably, as a one-loss team, beating the number 1 team in the nation, that puts you up there, Bill. And the Big 12, you're only going to get one nominee, either Oklahoma or Texas. And I can only see Oklahoma being that winner if they go undefeated. Texas, even if they one loss, I don't think they can jump over these other teams. I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, and another thing, and I meant to look this up, and I didn't remember. Texas has Ewers is injured.
Yes, I see.
He's not playing this week. I didn't. And what I didn't look up is who they were playing. I thought about it, and then it slipped my mind. But they're going with a backup quarterback on Saturday, and we'll see how that goes.
Are we going to mention the name Manning? Is that where they're projecting, Bill? Or
no, they're not. They said I saw an interview with Sarkisian. He said that Arch is taking reps. They're splitting the reps between the two of them, but Arch will not be the starter. But he could be available if need be.
And Texas is playing BYU, so they can put anybody in this week, Bill.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be something for an upset though, and knock Texas clear out the top 10?
Well, Cougars, if you're out there listening, this is your one chance to knock off, say bye-bye to Texas here. But yeah, I agree with you, Bill. I think Alabama and the haters, the lovers out there, they want to have Bama in, out. Just like you said, to root against them or root for them. They are the Dallas Cowboys, Bill.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
Except
without the championships. Without the championships, too. Yeah.
Except I like them.
And without the championships, Bill.
Hey, let's talk about Washington for just a minute, too.
Scare.
Yeah, they got a scare, and your boy Michael Penix did not have his best game this week, and I think we'll probably get to talking about a little Heisman a little later on, but not a great game for Michael Penix, but still a win for Washington to hold down that 5th spot. I thought maybe there could be an Oklahoma jump there.
I did too, Bill. I mean, 15-7 against Arizona State. In Arizona State, the Sun Devils here, Bill, who's basically down to their 3rd starting quarterback. Pine's out, their starter's out. Bogret is the starter now. Bill, 26 for 47, 196 for him, 1 pick. But Penix, 27-42, 275, 2 TDs with 2 picks, Bill. And they were bad balls. Balls.
Did he have 2 touchdowns? I thought he had no touchdowns.
He had 2 TDs. Or I'm sorry, no, he had 1. I'm sorry. One was on the ground. I'm sorry. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, he didn't have it, but his running back had it. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. And Oklahoma, had they not been in that barn burner they were in with UCF, then I think they do jump. They neutralized each other there with close games.
Yeah, I mean, but I always, as a betting person, I always stay up late to watch that Pac-12 game, and it always never fails, Bill. 9 out of 10 on a parlay. It's the wacky Pac-12. Somehow, Bill, what is going on in this Pac-12?
Because they don't play defense out there. It could be 60-54. Who knows?
But then we see a game like Washington, Bill, who could put up 50 on you anytime, only score 15 against Arizona State. What is this?
Go figure, right?
I tell you, Bill,
I'd hate to be sitting there thinking that I had my hard-earned money on that group out there when you never know what you're going to get.
I stay away from the Pac-12 now. Ever since this year, I don't bet on them at all because, Bill, the funny thing is I wrote down a couple weird stats here. That DraftKings bet there, Washington, Arizona State. Do you know what the over-under was, Bill?
Washington, Arizona State. I'm going to say it was 65.
62 points, Bill, and the combined total was 22.
Go figure.
You never know with this team out there, Bill. But
right.
What do you think? Is there any chance that from 11 to 15 get in here, Bill? I mean, Utah's making a name for themselves. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're not going to get to the top 5
No,
because
no.
they're, even if everybody loses, they're
Sure.
sitting back there pretty far, and
Hmm.
some of them with a couple losses. So, I mean, I think they could certainly make it to the top 10. They could certainly make it to New Year's 6
Yeah.
bowl games.
Hmm.
But I don't see them being able to get in that top 5 unless bad things happen all over the place.
Yeah, I don't
Good
see any
thing for
team.
them.
I don't see any team from 11 to 15 getting in there. Notre Dame's already out, 2-loss team. I don't care who you play. You're now have a conference championship. You're done. LSU still has a couple big games as well. Utah, you got to get through Washington and Oregon. That's the teams you got to get by, and they've already played themselves out, so they're not going to help you out as well. Old Miss, you're in a tough schedule there. You're in the SEC, and Oregon State. It's just like I said, you have Oregon and Washington ahead of you. So, I mean, you gotta pray to the gods or whatever can happen because that's the only way you're getting in.
Yeah, and LSU should still have Alabama, right?
Yes, I believe they do. Mhm. Coming the last, I think it's the second to the last week, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I like the top 10 here, but I like how you said maybe, or I just can't wait till next week, Bill. I honestly can't.
Yeah, I can't either, and I think it's going to be a surprise if everybody wins as we expect that they'll win.
Hmm.
I think what we're looking at here isn't going to look anything like this.
Hmm. Well, let's do an early projection, Bill. Before we get into next week's games here, where are you going to go number one? We'll go back and forth here. We'll go 1 to 5. Where are you going to start? I'll let you go first.
Next week or
Mhm.
um,
Our BCS rankings 1 through 5, projecting that everybody wins out this week. No upsets.
I'm going to put Ohio State number 1.
Oh, I like that. I'm still going to go Georgia because to me, when you're on the top of the ladder, it goes a long way. So I'm still going to put Georgia 1.
No, I'm gonna hold those signature wins, those 2 schedule wins for Ohio State.
Okay.
I'm going to make Michigan 2.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
No,
Okay,
I'm going to go Georgia 2 and Michigan 3.
Is there just a Big Ten hate, Bill?
No, not really. I just don't think Michigan or Georgia has played anybody yet.
That's true. I'm going to put Ohio State 2. I mean, I can put them at 1, Bill, just like you said. I have no disagreement, no argument with you there. But you got to knock off the Kings first. So I'm still going to go Georgia 1. I'm going to put Ohio State 2.
Okay. So I'm going Michigan 3 with Florida State right on their tail.
Yeah, I can go 3A, 3B. It's going to be Michigan, Florida State here. I'm going to put Michigan there too. Bigger conference, it's going to play itself out. So Florida State, I'm going to sit at 4 because they have the easiest chance to get to the top 4 and staying in the top 4. So let them stay at 4. They hold their own destiny. I'll make it easier for them. Either move up, stay where you're at, or knock yourself out on your own ability there. So I'm going to put Michigan 3, Florida State. I'll go Florida State 4.
Okay, 5. Washington's got the Oregon win. Oklahoma's got the Texas win.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll leave it the way it is. Washington and Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stay there too. They're once again, Bill, they're going to play themselves out too. Washington, I still believe they have Oregon State as well, and they're sitting at 11 too. So that'll play itself out. But it's very interesting. The team, Bill, the sleeper team, they're not a sleeper, but outside knocking it is Alabama. They are not out of this by any means yet.
No, and they'll get some schedule benefits going down the stretch too. They've beat Ole Miss, who's sitting there.
Yep.
They beat Tennessee this week, so they're going to slide up on the strength of schedule. I think of these one-loss teams that you're seeing.
Yeah.
Starting at Texas, it wouldn't surprise me if Texas jumped or Alabama jumped Texas and Oregon.
I agree with that. If only they could figure out that offensive situation there with Milroy. If they had an offense built, because this defense can bang with any team out in college land right now. They can. They really can. Well, Bill, I mean, this week we don't have a lot of games this week, Bill. So, I had to put your team in there, of course. Indiana, Penn State. I had to put my Notre Dame in there because they are our teams. But it's kind of hard to find some games this week, Bill.
Yeah. Well, I think that, the big one's right there in the middle. The Oregon-Utah game is probably the best game of the week.
Agree.
And we'll see if Utah bounces back. Oregon's playing pretty good ball. They got to go to Utah.
Yes.
and I believe they had their first snowstorm come through Montana. I don't know if it got to Utah or not, but
Hmm.
a snowstorm came through here in the last day or two. So I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
if
I
that
don't know. Yeah, I don't know if a quack quack duck attack can run in the snow, Bill. I've never seen a duck run in the snow before, so we'll see,
right,
right?
right. But yeah, I think I'm going to still like Oregon in that game.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
well,
Uh,
mm,
I'm going to go Utah, Bill. I like the way they're playing. That defense is this unknown defense where it's 11 hats on one ball. I love that defense, Bill. And if it's a close game, if they can come out and smash Oregon in the mouth the first two drives, they're in this game, Bill. Because some way they find a way to win, and it's led by their defense. It really is.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And they got the running game back a little
Yes.
bit last week
Mhm.
too. So we'll see. I think that'll be a good one. That's the best game of the week. You know,
Yep.
then they got the cocktail party in Jacksonville with Georgia, Florida. Um, Florida's on the downs. Georgia's been rolling them for the last handful of years, and
Yeah.
there's no reason that Georgia's not going to take it to Florida pretty big here. I think.
Yeah, I think this is one of going to be an easy game for them. I think this is a game where I heard that they might be sitting out the tight end Brock.
Oh, he's hurt. He's out.
Yeah, he's out. He's out. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Yeah, okay.
I think he's got a season ender.
Oh, was it a season? Because
I,
I thought it was this week. There, he's questionable upon return, or playoff wise. But I don't know.
well, maybe come playoffs, but I think he's out for a while.
Okay, okay, but I
Yeah.
don't think they need him, Bill, against Florida here. I really don't.
No. Brock Powers, you're talking about, right?
Yes, Brock Bowers 6. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I think Florida gets rocked here, Bill. I'm probably going to say probably a 3-score game here. Honestly,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Mhm.
think so too.
Yeah. Now that Oregon game, Bill, do you think it's going to be close? I mean, you're going with your Oregon. I'm going to go Utah here. I think it's very close. I'm going to say, because we know Oregon can score. Utah's defense is just solid. They don't score a lot, but I'm not even going to look at that game last week, putting up 34 for USC because USC does not play defense.
Right.
But I'm going to probably go 27-23 Utah here, Bill.
I was going to go 24-17 Oregon.
Okay. All right. So we're pretty close, like a 1-score game. Just
Yep.
different opinions there.
Good
Okay.
game. I think it's going to be a good
Definitely
game.
is. Definitely is. Now, the other game, Bill, with top teams here in the ACC, Duke and Louisville. I don't like Louisville for some reason, Bill. You know why I don't like them. But
Yeah, there's a reason.
there is a reason, but we won't have to get into that. But what do you think here? Riley Leonard, I don't know about this guy. He plays great, but after the injury, he struggled last week, Bill. He struggled really bad.
Yeah. I'm still going to go Duke here because I think Duke plays pretty good defense.
Yeah.
Might not have quite shown that against Florida State, or they just ran out of gas against Florida State.
Mm,
But Duke has shown in other games, Notre Dame game included, that they can play
yes.
pretty solid defense.
Mhm.
And Louisville, knocking off Notre Dame, that might have been the highlight of their season. I'm not really sold much on Louisville at this point.
I agree with you. I think Duke wins this game. I don't think it's going to blow out. I think it's just a solid victory for them. Louisville, you know what? You played your Super Bowl. You beat Notre Dame. You jumped up. And once again, you're playing the ACC conference here, up and down. We don't know who you are, what you are, other than Florida State. So I'm going to go Duke here as well. I think that it's a bounce back game for Riley Leonard. Last week, he had a bad game. 7 for 16, 64 yards, Bill. And that defense is something special that I think they win this game easily this week.
Yeah, all right.
Mm-hmm. Now, Bill, we had to talk about Penn State here. I mean, they're playing Indiana. Bill, I know this is a win for you. What do you want to work on here?
Well, I think you got to throw the ball. You got to work on your receivers. You got to work on your quarterback. You got to get back to running the ball. I mean, everything on offense they got to work on because it was a big old egg they laid last week. I just think the offense has to come out and that whole substituting, getting guys in the game stuff.
Yeah.
Reps
Exactly.
for these guys.
I hear you.
And don't come out of that Ohio State game with your tail between your legs because somebody might knock you off. Better be careful.
Yeah, exactly. Play what's in front of you. Don't play down to your competition. And I love how you said that, Bill. No matter what, stop the substitutions, get your reps in. Practice on the field. Because what you do in practice games, you go 150%, Bill. It makes it a damn lot easier in a game situation. For your starters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to see this offense, come out there, not with their tail between their legs, put foot down to the accelerator and just go work on this offense. And if I'm in there and I'm Drew Aller, I'm like, guys, you recruited me, trust me, Trust me.
And they might say, then you got to play better.
True. Very true. Well, knowing Franklin, Bill, I don't know what he's thinking, because I seen that stat of his records, Bill, against prime time, the elite teams.
Ooh.
Ohio State, we won't even talk about. But
Speaking of tails between your legs.
yes, exactly.
It's awful.
Yeah. Oh, it is horrendous. It is horrendous.
That's a graphic that if you put up on the screen, it would melt the screen.
Yeah, that's one of those. Even as not even a Penn State fan, Bill, it's just like one of those you cringe at, like, "Ooh, is that real or is that a hoax?"
Right?
Mm-hmm. But Bill, the last game is, I always put my team on there as well as yours. Notre Dame and Pitt. I'm a little worried about this game, Bill. I really am. Not to where we'll lose, but I'm a little worried. Come off a bye week.
No chance.
No chance. Okay, all right.
No chance.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're
here. Pitt's a little bit of a mystery to me.
Yes.
Pat Narducci's been there long enough that he should have some good teams, and he doesn't.
True.
He had a decent team a couple of years ago with
Kenny Pickett. Yeah.
Kenny Pickett.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But they're not very good. They're not beating Notre Dame. That's at Notre Dame. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they're not beating them, and I'm really kind of surprised that Narducci doesn't get on the hot seat a little bit more. His name was actually thrown out there with that Michigan State situation. He's got some ties to Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I'll tell you what, if I'm Pitt, I'm saying go on. Go on.
We'll pack your bags for you.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just not a Pat Narducci guy. He just, to me, they've underachieved out there, and he's had long enough there to fix that.
Okay. I'm glad you're here, Bill, because I tell you, like, as a Notre Dame fan, what I've seen so far this year, it's up and down, playing down to your competition, taking Duke for granted, taking Louisville for granted. You play great against Ohio State. You play great against USC. This is Pitt. Nothing to play for, Bill. This is a wounded animal. And I've always said, even to my team, when you play that team, we're 7-1. When you play that team, it's 0-8 right now. They are a wounded animal. They have nothing to play for. And they are vicious in a cage, ready to be let out. So don't let your guard down.
Right, or they're going to lay in the corner, one or the other.
Exactly.
I don't think they're that far down. But, Notre Dame should be playing with a lot of momentum, They should be trying to build on what they've gotten done here. And I think they'll take care of business.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, Bill. Bill, I mean, there's a couple of topics that I do want to pick your brain with here. Let's talk about this. Rivals aren't what their rivals are going to be in the future here, Bill. We've seen a team that's going to a conference today. One of the legendary games here, Army, Bill. Can you explain to me what the hell's going on here, Bill?
Everybody, including your Fighting Irish, better find a conference.
Yes, yeah.
If you don't find a conference, you're going to be on the outside looking in. And for Army to join the AAC, Navy's already in the AAC, Air Force is in the conference out west. You better have a place to live, or you're going to end up with no games.
Yeah.
And I think we were talking about this earlier. I think Army Navy is going to continue to be Army Navy. Is going to continue to be the last game of the season, and at least for now, they're going to call it a non-conference game, even though it's between two conference teams. I don't know how long they can do that. Maybe it really doesn't matter because neither one of them probably are playing for a championship anytime soon.
True.
So they could pull that off, but they better not ruin that tradition.
Yeah, if they take that away, Bill, I love it. The first game I ever seen was Army and Navy, and my dad was in the military Marines, of course. It was at the Rose Bowl, many years ago. My dad took me out there. Bill, one of the greatest sights that I'll never forget, seeing all the cadets there, the midshipmen, and it's just something that you want to see. A lot of people look at, to them, Bill, that is their Super Bowl. That is their Super Bowl, the Army Navy game. It's worldwide, it's known.
I've been very fortunate to have seen a handful of them, probably 6. The first one I saw was about 1969, when probably most people listening here weren't alive.
Bill, I wasn't even born yet. I was born 2 years after that, Bill.
Sorry about that. But yeah, it's really good, and it's at JFK Stadium, by the way.
That's what I was going to ask you, Bill. Okay, before the vet, where did they play at for this
JFK
game?
Stadium, which was in it was actually JFK Stadium sits where the Wells Fargo Center is now.
Oh, okay, okay,
So
okay.
the JFK Stadium was built, and then the Spectrum was built next to that, and then the
Right.
Vet was built next to that, and all three of them were lined up. And then
Jeez.
as they started knocking them down, they knocked down the JFK Stadium finally. They put the Wells Fargo Center there,
Gotcha.
and then they, as the Vet went, they built the other stadiums.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's
So
going to be my question. Where was that in 1969? Where you seen a game like that? Because
JFK Stadium, and for the people older than me, even before that, it was Memorial Stadium.
wow,
Before JFK was, it was same stadium, but before he was president and all that, and they renamed the stadium JFK Stadium.
gotcha, gotcha. Bill, real quick before we get out here, I wanted to ask you two things here. Where do you think Notre Dame falls into place with the conference here, Bill? As everybody says, ACC. That there's only two conferences that I could actually, well, three actually. ACC maybe. Big Ten is just too crowded for them, even though they played a Big Ten schedule. The last 10 years, Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan. Bring that back to me, or an SEC maybe. What do you think about those three?
No, they're not going to go to SEC. They don't want none of that.
Mhm.
In basketball, they're already in the ACC.
Yes.
I mean, that seems like it would be the logical landing spot. The Big Ten.
Oh, I lost Bill there for a second. All right, well, we'll keep on going until Bill gets back. You lost connection there, Bill. But I agree with Bill. Since the Penn State, I'm sorry, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they do play an ACC-based basketball schedule. If they do go to that right there, but I want to wait for Bill to get back here. What I want to ask Bill is, does that knock off their strength of schedule? Florida State is going to be on the uprising. Clemson is going down, of course, downgrading from a dynasty team, going back from, Watson to Lawrence to where they are now. But where does that hold Notre Dame in strength of schedule? Their team that they will play every year would be Florida State. Is that a given every year, or is that going to be a 1 year off year, scheduling wise as well? And where are the teams that they will play every year? Will they go out and get a 1-1? I believe they're playing Texas in 2 years. I think they're going out to Texas to play them. 2 years ago, they did the Oklahoma venture. Will they pick a Big Ten team? Michigan, bring that back. Will they go, Penn State? Where would they go? But I do think Notre Dame will go to the ACC. It makes a lot of sense. Bill said, the SEC doesn't make sense. It's a money issue too as well. The SEC has its own network, of course. Notre Dame has their own, prior network, of course. Notre Dame Saturday, that'll stay as a venture to itself as well. So I think that the only common right would be the ACC. It makes sense for them too, but that's where I think they go. Bill will be back very shortly here. He lost connection here real quick. He's probably rebooting his computer, but that's fine. We'll just wait, give him a couple minutes here before he comes back. But, guys, before we get out of here, I'm going to do the schedules for us real quick and tell you what we're about here on the Box Sports Entertainment. Guys, here's our schedule for the entire week here. Out of the Box Sports Entertainment, always think outside the box. Monday through Sunday, we have something for everybody. Tomorrow night, we have the NFL Weekly Pick'em Show with myself and Dan going week to week, head to head. Friday nights, we have the Atomic Drop for all WWE fans. Saturday morning, I'll be back this week, talking Notre Dame football, coming off the bye this week, Pittsburgh's coming to us. Saturday night, the Silver and Black Layer for all your Raiders fans and LA Kings fans out there. Sunday, we got you covered with the Big Blue Power Hour. And, of course, we also have the pregame show talking Dallas Cowboys as well. So please check us out there. Guys, if you're a big coffee drinker, make sure you reach out to my great friends out there, monkeycoldcoffee.com, the evolution of flavor-infused coffee, newest blend, organic Perula, Florida, toasted coconut rum, bourbon chocolate chip, Samaritan blend. Reach out to them. Make sure you use promo code OTBS Sports at the checkout for your 10% off your entire order. Also, last but not least, 1-800-HURT-123, attorney Jason Fine, Big Al, Jason Fine. Motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, personal injury claims, 3 convenient locations throughout Pennsylvania and the Garden State of Cherry Hill. First, Philadelphia, 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. Also, my neck of the woods here, Pittsburgh, PA, 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. Excuse me, and the great state of Jersey, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. 3 Greensward Lane, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Reach out to my good friend, Jason Fine. Make sure you say Out of the Box College sent you. I guarantee it. No recovery, no fee. 33 1/3% for your entire case if they take the case for you. So, guys, that is our incredible lineup here. We are going to check out. I'm not sure if Bill's going to be hopping back on, but there he is. Speaking of,
Yeah, what in the world is going on?
I don't know, Bill. You there?
It's almost like it's on a timer, and it just
I know.
all of a sudden the screen was frozen, but we were still talking. All the talking was still going on, and the next thing, I was talking, and I was waiting for your answer, and there was no answer.
Oh wow, yeah, it was like froze on my screen for a second. It happened last week too. It's like I think it's right around this time, Bill, that when we had Goon on last week, it was just like,
Yeah,
wait a minute, what is going on here, Bill?
I have no idea. And the thing about it is, I am completely frozen to the point that I have to hit the power off button and reboot the whole machine.
Wow, that's
But
crazy.
we
I don't
just
know.
did our Philly Press Box radio show at 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock. I had no problem. I don't know why.
Wow.
Something. I don't know.
Well, Bill, I don't know if they put you in timeout or something, Bill. I have no idea what's
Maybe.
going on.
Maybe.
But Bill, last thing I want to ask you, we're talking about the ACC there. I do believe they will go there. But Bill, go in there. I know they have the AC schedule, but I don't think it's really. They're going to go there, Bill, but it's not going to benefit them because they're going to play Florida State, of course, every year. Hopefully, it's every year. Clemson's on a downfall. Bill, what teams outside, the tradition-wise, do you still see the USC? Do you still see the Navy? Do you still see those games that Notre Dame plays? Or because next year, I believe they have a home and away with Texas coming up.
Yeah, they do. And I don't know that Texas is going to keep that game.
Yes.
Navy. I think Navy they'll always keep because
Sure.
that's a thing. They got a thing with them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're going to see more and more of playing the the lower level schools, the Massachusetts and the Delawares, because if you got to go into a conference, I mean, let's just talk about the Penn State because I'm most familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to play Ohio State, Oregon, USC,
you need a break.
right, and then you tack on your other 4 or 5, Maryland, Wisconsin,
Mm-hmm.
whoever, Purdue, whatever. You're not going to be able to go load up and play Notre Dame.
True. Yeah.
You're just not going to be able to do it, and I think that's why it's so important that Notre Dame finds a conference.
Yeah,
because everybody's going to be in the same boat. It's we could have picked Ohio State and gone down that road as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important from Notre Dame standpoint that you better nobody. Well, I shouldn't say this. If money's involved, there might be somebody, but nobody is going to step out and put together a 12-game schedule out of conference against Notre Dame because they're Notre Dame.
Yeah, true. I agree with that, Bill. I think the ACC makes perfect sense for them. Notre Dame has never been the team, arguably, their name recognition, Bill, you heard me say that a lot of times. I'm very truthful about that. That's the way I feel. But Notre Dame has never, in the last 15 years, ever one season, Bill, went out and got a cupcake schedule. They go out and get the best every year. Right. And I think they're still going to continue that because the ACC is not that strength of schedule, Bill.
Yeah, well, and the problem is you can't dance without a partner. So,
very true.
So they got to be able to find a bunch of teams that are willing to play, willing to play them.
And that makes perfect sense. Exactly what you said. You use Penn State as an argument, as an example here. You play Michigan, you play Ohio State, you play Wisconsin, you play Washington, Oregon, whoever's on your schedule that year. Well, we need a break. Why do we want to go out and take a risk of losing to a Notre Dame team to knock us out 1 week and our season is done? We want to go out there and get that UMass, that Buffalo, those teams. That's who we want. The Villanova, the Delaware.
We don't want to see it as fans.
No,
don't want to see it, but you got to understand the reasoning behind it. You just can't. You can't go out there every week and win every week.
But I was watching Paul Feinbaum, the SEC network.
Oh yeah.
He mentioned that I think it was him. Like I said, I don't want to call his name out, but I believe it was him. Almost 85% sure that was him. He said in the next 2 years that just like the NFL schedule going from 16 to 17, possibly 18 in the future, maybe, that the college football might expand 1 to 2 weeks with the building of power conferences.
Well, they might as well, because I think we're fooling ourselves at this point between the NIL and the transfer portal.
Yes.
The thing used to be the kids have to go to school. They got to take their finals and blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
The student athlete part, The student part is going away.
Very true.
These
Very
are paid
true.
athletes.
Yeah.
I think if we're going to call it anything else, we're fooling ourselves.
Sure.
And back to kind of tie this all together. Back we were talking about Arch Manning. You probably saw where he donated his NIL money. He got $102,000 for signing football cards. Right. So that was his one deal with Panini or somebody that he got $102,000. So now you got the Sanders kid in Colorado is getting 6 million, 8 million, whatever in the world he's getting. He's not worried about going to class.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
Like I say, I think we're kidding ourselves, and it's going to be bad. It's a bad thing because in the case of Arch Manning, say, if he's not going to class, and he may very well be, he's he might be fine, but using him as an example, if he's not going to class, and all of a sudden here he is, he becomes a sophomore, redshirt sophomore, and now you have some kid roaming around your campus who doesn't go to class, but we're going to make a football player out of him because he's making 100,000, 200,000, whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a mess. That whole thing's a mess.
It's funny how you mentioned, like talking about athletes here. I was watching the Denver Nuggets game last night. Bill, did you see who was front court? Right center line, half court there. Did you see who was there last night?
I did not. Was it
Deion Sanders, Sanders, and Travis Hunter? All there, iced out, decked. I guess they call it iced out now because the even announcer says, "Wow, they're iced out. They're prime time." Front court, Bill. Back in the day, if you even show up to an arena, you're slapped on the wrist and you're done for the season as an athlete.
Yeah. Yeah, and exactly to my point. Last night was Tuesday.
Exactly.
To my knowledge, they have class on Tuesday and Wednesday in college.
Yes, and Bill, this was a West Coast game playing LA last night, so that was a 10:30 game our time, 7:30 their time. Game didn't get done till 10:30 here, so somewhere in there had to be a class, an evening class, I believe, correct?
Right, somewhere. Yeah,
somewhere. Yes,
but that's exactly to my point. And
Sure.
that's I don't want to. I certainly don't know whether these kids go to class or not. But the opportunity, if it were me, and I was making $6 million a year, and I could play ball and not go to class, I ain't going to class either.
Exactly. Right. I don't need this.
No, I don't need this. I don't need your degree. I don't need nothing.
Exactly. Go to school to make money. Don't go to class. Just make money. Play ball, do what you love, and just make money, right?
That's right. Hey, I got one more thing I wanted to hit you up on real quick before we run out of time. I saw today where the latest odds-on favorite for the Heisman Trophy is J.J. McCarthy.
Wow.
J.J. McCarthy is the odds-on favorite on a money line. It was some betting thing. Michael Penix is second. Caleb Williams is third. Dylan Gabriel fourth. Jordan Travis 5. Jaden Daniels 6. And some guy named Marvin Harrison was 9.
9. Wow.
9.
Well, Bill, you know what? First, what is the Heisman in your eyes? Because the best player on the field to me, one-on-one, game-on-game, has been Marvin Harrison to me. Every week, he's been consistent, Bill. All the other players, Caleb Williams, Penix, McCarthy hasn't showed me what he is yet. He's just managing a game to me. Jaden Daniels, up and down. You can score with the best of you, but that's fine. You can do that, pat your numbers. But consistently, it's Marvin Harrison. It's sitting at 9, but he's not going to win it, Bill. He's not going to win it.
I will say my personal opinion, and I have seen most of these guys now, at least once. Marvin Harrison's the best player in the country. I said that before the season. I'll stick to it.
Yes.
Here down the road, I think he's the best player. He's a difference maker.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be surprised as this plays out. Maybe Marvin Harrison doesn't end up in New York at least as a Final 3 or Final 5, however many they decide they're going to bring this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get an invite. He's really good. He's going to make a lot of money.
I agree.
At the next level too.
I think the one person we can take off that list, Bill, is Caleb Williams. I think he's knocked himself out of this talk right now. He shouldn't be
Yeah.
in there right now. He should not be in there.
I think he's done.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's done.
I mean, I don't know, Bill. I mean, the way this was playing out, we talked about Caleb Williams as the consensus Heisman Trophy back-to-back winner. The way he's played, Penix had a bad game. I mean, hell, why not just throw Bo Nix in there the way he's playing too?
Actually, Bo Nix was in there. He was. Okay. I believe he was 8.
Okay.
I think I read you 6.
Okay.
And Harrison, I believe, was 9. I think Nix was 8.
No more Drake May. No more Drake May in that list.
Drake May was 7.
Okay.
Yeah,
7. Okay. All right. So we got him in there. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's going to play itself out, Bill. If I'm a betting man, I'm staying away from that right now because, oh man, if I'm a dark horse, I will take Marvin Harrison because Bill, we agree with this. We see it the same way consistently. The greatest player, in the season this year, Marvin Harrison, week 1 to week 9, consensus all the way through. It's just he's so consistent. You try to stop him. Hell, Penn State put 3 on him last week. Still got 162 yards.
Yeah, I think the big thing with him will be how does he fare against Michigan? If he puts on another show and on the big stage again against Michigan, his stock rises. And because I'm not sure, and if McCarthy wins that game against Ohio State and Penn State, that'll raise him. But he's got a couple chances that he could stumble as well.
I'm surprised they didn't put Shedeur Sanders in there, Bill.
No, he was not in there.
Wow. I mean, we always think of Heisman as padding your stats wise. That's his stats are still top 5 in the NCAA, but I don't know, Bill.
Yeah, it's those losses for him are probably as much a problem as anything.
Very true, very true. But Bill, before we get out here, I do have one question for you.
Go ahead.
This is not football related here, but what happened yesterday? In your eyes, Bill.
Well, it happened for me in game 3.
Ooh, okay.
I thought the bullpen was mismanaged from game 3. That led to a problem in game 4. Those two things lumped together. They blew both those games that they should have won. And with that, Arizona got some momentum.
Yeah.
And made some fantastic in-series adjustments at the plate, on the mound, and on the bases. And when it came to those last 2 games, they were the better team.
Yeah, I don't watch this. I'm a Braves fan, Bill, but I don't watch a lot of baseball. I watch it, but I'm not every day in and out with baseball. But the one thing I did notice, and I was in my group chat talking about, and I was like, guys, I don't watch baseball as much as you guys do, but the one thing I see in games 1 through 3, the Phillies were aggressive on the base pads. Take what the defense gives you. Get that guy from first to second. Bring in a runner. Move the bag as fast as you can. Bill, games 4 through 7, it flipped the script. Arizona was more aggressive on the base pads. They played small ball, Bill. And exactly. If the Phillies didn't hit a dinger, they looked gone, Bill. They were swinging for the fences on here. While Arizona was just playing, get a man on. Let's just move them. Let's just move them. Let's just move them.
Right, and I think we just talked about this on our show too. Mm-hmm. Is I think if they're paying attention, what happened to the Braves?
Mm-hmm.
The Braves were all this, and they were bombers and this and that. Right. And the bombing got shut down by the Phillies, and then when the Phillies come, now they're bombers, and they got shut down too. The ones that are winning are the ones that are playing small ball. Like you said, put the ball in play. Mm-hmm. I think I want to say it was like the 6th inning maybe last night when the announcer said they have put pressure on the Phillies every inning because they had guys on base and they were stealing bases. They were doing things and they weren't sitting up there striking out, hoping to hit a long ball and hit warning track shots. That they're outs. They're just outs.
Yeah, I was listening to the Arizona broadcast, Bill, and I usually watch like the opposite, other teams just to see how they talk. And their announcer, listening to their broadcast, they were saying once Corbin Carroll got on base, he was 3 for 4 last night. Yep. No power hits, just moving the ball base by base. And when he was at first base, he's like, I'm telling you, the way they're playing here, by the second pitch, Corbin is gone. And by the second pitch, Bill, he was gone. Second base went out. That's when I think it was Romero came in, hit a double. Moved him in. There's 1 run. He was like, this is how Arizona has to win. They're not going to beat you by the long ball. Play small ball because the Phillies, They're beating themselves by swinging for the fences.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I couldn't believe it. I could. But the good thing, Bill, is I don't have to wear that Phillies crap anymore. But I did move on to the Philadelphia 76ers, Bill.
There you go. There you go. Well, we'll see them tomorrow night. They'll be in action tomorrow night. So they got a mess on their hands as well.
Yeah, Harden's not playing for the first 2 games. He finally shows up, Bill. He's not playing for 2 games here, but I don't know. We'll see what this team's made up this year.
That's right.
Definitely will. Bill, thanks for joining, of course, every week here. Bill, where can they find you at once again?
Philly Press Box Radio, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock. Talk all things Philly sports. And effective today,
yes,
we have a Twitter account that is Philly space Press Box space Radio.
Yes, and I already subscribed, Bill.
There you go.
I
got to learn that whole Twitter X thing. I'm not that guy.
Me either. It's funny. Like, I'm on Twitter there. I run the Out of the Box Twitter, and it's just, I will say Twitter. I can't go to the X, Bill. I'll tell you a little funny story, Bill, for a second here. Before it went to X, I tell you, I thought I was in a bunch of trouble with my fiance, Katie, because that logo popped up and said X. I thought I downloaded something I shouldn't have, and it popped on my screen. I took it off real quick, and I went to the other room to look at it. I'm like, oh, that's Twitter. Okay. It's Twitter. See?
Right.
I thought I was in trouble, Bill. I thought I downloaded something I wasn't supposed to.
I hear you.
Well, Bill, you ready to get out of here? And we'll do this again next week. And
let's do it.
Bill, I can't wait. BCS True Ranking comes out next week.
That's right. Going to be a lot to talk about.
There definitely will. We could do a whole show on that one, Bill. All right, guys. My name is Paul Spencer. That is the OG of the radio to airways. That is Bill Furman. So we'll be back next Wednesday, 8 p.m. to talk some more college football. Until then, everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next Wednesday.